Zweihard spends time assessing his forge and deciding what he needs to not only return it to full operation, but to also make it good enough to forge his masterpiece. He does some forging and magical tests to ensure the forge is not tainted. Once more, he ventures into the world to deal with a more pressing matter, to secure food. He finds a plentiful source of fish and spends several days fishing. Then one night, his sleep is interrupted by a pair of were-rats. The supernatural foes are a tough fight, but once Zweihard decapitates one, the other flees. Not one to look a gift rat in the mouth, Zweihard decides were-rat will make decent rations. With food secured, Zweihard uses the mithril to reinforce his helm. Next he heads out, hoping to find a source of the metals and materials he needs to improve his forge. He finds an old abandoned mine, so decides to explore it. The mine is home to an ooze, which Zweihard quickly fights off, before proceeding to mine as much coal as he can carry. On the way back he encounters 2 more hobgoblins. He kills one and the other surrenders. He learns the hobgoblins serve a Cyclops named Polypherum. Zweihard releases the hobgoblin with a message for its master to steer clear after claiming all their weapons and armour. He returns to his forge and continues with his smithing by smelting the mithril helm, reforging it as a halberd and weaving enchantments into it during the process. Will the Cyclops become a problem? Will Zweihard forge an exquisite item? How long will goat last? Let's find out now on Dicing with Death.
Hello everybody and welcome to Dicing with Death. Ryan, how are you doing today?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Last night, I made giant samosas, and I've been eating them. Giant samosas.
You lack the dexterity to fold them into small samosas?
No, because I didn't want to make like individual samosa wrap, like the samosa dough, so I just used tortillas instead. And so they're tortilla-sized samosas.
Fusion food.
Don't make that face. They're delicious.
I'm sure it's great, but
they're fantastic.
Samosas, are they stuffed with refried beans instead?
No, they're stuffed with I can list all the ingredients. Potatoes, green bell peppers because I didn't have any red. Red onions, cumin, coriander, salt, paprika, cayenne powder. A few black beans are actually in there. I think I'm missing a key ingredient somewhere.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's more ingredients than I needed anyways.
Perfect.
Now I can go replicate this myself.
Mm-hmm. I can even give you instructions to the thing that inspired me if you so desire.
I'm good, but
yeah, that's what I thought.
Post in chat in case anyone's interested in burritos.
I will. There you go, chat. Yeah.
I did not move. I am dog sitting. We may get a Georgia cameo at some point. I don't know where she is, but doggos abound.
Somewhere around here. All right.
I'm trying to find my spell list because I'm also on a different computer.
All the things are different. That's all complicated.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Anything we need to chat about?
No, but I thought today was Wednesday, and so I was preparing for Assassin up until the last moment, and then I went to post the link to Rob, and was like, wait a minute, it's Tuesday. Today's Dicing with Death, not Assassin. So I am a little scattered, but I'm sure we'll make it work. Let's get rid of these soundtracks that we don't need. Here we go. Let's start with this. So where do we leave you?
Just took down a couple of hobgoblins. Found out that they are serving a Cyclops named Pythagorean theorem or something.
Close enough. Yeah.
Close enough. And that's it. Killed one, took their gear, sent the other off to tell tales of how terrifying the black steel dwarves are. I think we're heading back to the forge.
Okay. I did like that.
Level up.
Leave one alive and send him off with a warning. It's a good way to build a reputation. I like it.
Yeah, it's also a good way to get assassins showing up at your house.
Well, that's what happens when you have a big reputation. You know, it comes with danger.
Where are the gods' spell lists?
Brewums.com/characters.php. I'll link it in Twitch chat for you.
I got it. That's fine.
Okay.
Sayor. And we just leveled up, so I've got second level spells now.
Yes.
And I think we also want to create a new second level spell to enchant this halberd.
And what second level spell would that be, pray tell?
The one we talked about it last week.
Right, the critical everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if you've got a secret safe assassination mission all planned for me, but
I don't.
Okay then.
So what do you want to call this spell?
Yeah, shall we start right there? So I think we're back at the forge, right? And so we can be doing this spell research. Where the spell will be called Hellish Halberd.
Nice. And it is a second level spell.
Yeah.
Let's see. It'll take verbal material and somatic components. You think?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. And it's probably School of Enchantment.
Yes. Maybe even like a special crafting spell. I don't know if that's a thing we want. You can, yeah. And well, I guess School of Enchantment, sure. And Sphere. I guess you don't track spheres, do you?
I do track spheres. Yeah.
What are I don't know what the priestly spheres are. Is there anything crafty? There's not an enchantment sphere?
There's all animal, astral, chaos, charm, combat, creation,
so
divination.
I don't think I have access to combat.
Okay.
Creation? It might be creation.
Guardian, healing law, necromantic, numbers, plant, protection, summoning, sun, thought, time travelers, not time travelers, but time and travelers, and war. So it sounds to me like this is probably a creation, a spell.
Yeah, do I have access to creation?
I think so. Your god is Sayor. He's the god of creation, so you would better have access to it.
It's got a book of crafting. Okay, cool.
Let's see here. Sayor is ID 97. And creation is ID 7.
Ooh. Got good berry. Got some healing now.
Ooh. Yeah, you do have access to creation. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the range is going to be what? Touch?
Yeah.
The duration is permanent?
Permanent, yeah.
Casting time
Probably like an hour, at least at this. So I was thinking of there being a second use for the spell once it's already created, but we can, I think, an hour or something for the basic.
Sure. And it affects one item per casting?
Yes, yeah.
Alright, there's no saving throw, it does no damage. What would you say the material components are?
I think it is the metal to be forged. Right?
Okay.
So, and it's got to be special. So maybe we should base the cost off of how much this mithril costs. What is it? What is the pound of mithril? Actually, it's like a half pound of mithril.
Yeah.
What that costs?
So 2,000 times 25, 50,000 copper, or 500 gold.
That seems reasonable, right? Is that like the minimum, you think? So you
Sure.
Yeah. So 50,000 copper worth of mithril or some equivalent precious metal as deemed worthy by the gods.
Okay, excellent. And tell me what this does.
This spell enchants a weapon to be especially brutal when wielded in combat.
Okay.
I think on a roll of 18, 19, or 20.
On a roll.
No, on an attack roll, on an attack roll of 18, 19, or 20. Roll an extra d10 to determine critical effects.
All right.
And then we can put a little table below. So we've got bleed, we've got maim, and we've got stun. What do you think the relative chances of each of those should be?
You said bleed, maim, and stun?
Yeah.
So, what is maim?
As per slow spell, I think. So -4.
-4 to hit an AC?
Yeah, maybe like leg versus, you could do leg versus arm. Some -4 to AC if it's a leg hit, -4 to hit if it's an arm hit.
So maim sounds better than stun, and stun sounds better than bleed. So
Maim sounds better than stun? Really?
Well, because maim, that's like a permanent -4 until it's healed, right?
I think it would be probably just until medical treatment is administered. So I assume it would be
How long does the stun last? 1 round?
1 round, 1d4 rounds.
Because I feel like if you maim a really scary target, it'll benefit you for the whole of combat, whereas if you stun them for just 1 round, it's,
Yeah.
So do you want bleed to be... We could do...
Should they overlap, or should it just be one or the other?
We could do one or the other, or maybe like there's a chance for multiple. We could do like 40% bleed, 30% stun, 20% maim. No, that doesn't work. Yeah, and then 10% for 2 options.
Yeah. Which okay. I was thinking to do a 1d10 just because that's already the damage die. So 1 through 4
would be bleed. 5 through 7 would be stun. 8 through 9 would be maim, and 10 would be roll twice.
Yeah, roll again. 10 would be roll twice more.
Yeah. Okay. And bleed does what?
I think 1 damage per round until addressed, whatever, until healed. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm with I'm with Mr. Tarask in chat. I think stun is more powerful, but we can agree to disagree. It's certainly debatable.
Yeah.
It depends on the I mean, if you're in a party, stun is not that big of a deal. But if it's like one-on-one combat, often a one-round stun is just like a death sentence.
It is, but if you're fighting something and you're going to fight it for 10 rounds and you stun it for 1, that's not that big of a deal. But if you maim it and then it has to spend 9 more rounds at -4 to hit and AC, because a stun is -4 to AC as well and no action.
If you want to, I mean, maybe if you want it to be like a round limit or until healing is addressed. I don't know. We can see.
Sure. I mean, we can. It's your spell, so however you want to do it, I'm down.
Well, yeah, sure, but I want it to be fair. And I think if you keep rolling 10s, you can probably get all 3 of that. Like maybe if you roll double 10s, just take all 3.
Right.
Or yeah. Or do you want it to stack bleeding damage or something like that, or stack stun rounds?
Yeah, that's fine.
You can see how unwieldy it gets.
Yeah.
Do you want any others? Like, do you want to? I feel like 18, 19, or 20 may be rare enough that it's fine. Do you think there should be a saving throw to resist?
Ooh. So it currently has a 15% chance to activate. Giving it a saving throw
would reduce that to like a
way
5.
Less. Yeah, especially if you're targeting a larger creature with better hit dice. I say let's not do a saving throw, or maybe a. For a second level spell, it's pretty good if there's no save. Yeah, let's give it a saving throw.
So, yeah.
Maybe, like, modified by level, like a saving throw with a bonus or penalty for every hit die or level difference.
Sure.
Okay. Also, stun is 1 round or 1d4 rounds?
What if we could do 1 round and then like rolling crits? Like, so if you roll a 10, you just keep stacking dice. We can see how. Right,
sure.
If you get a 10, roll 2 more d10. If any of those are a 10, you get 2 more d10s.
Right.
And it's just like exploding dice. So if you get multiple stuns, you can add the rounds together.
Sure.
And then the material components are the crafting materials, which are not used in casting, obviously.
Target is stunned for 1 round, and maim is as per the slow spell.
Yeah, as per the slow spell. Do you want to differentiate body part hits, or?
That's up to you. I'm down to, but how granular do you want to get?
I think you can just say as per the slow spell, and if it makes sense narratively to call out just the leg or just the arm.
And do you also want the half rate of attack as per the slow spell?
I think if it's if it's an arm hit, we would do -4 to hit and half attacks. If it's a leg hit, it would be half move and -4 to AC.
Okay, sure.
We could also make like a low roll on the D10. So instead of a save, make the low roll on the D10, nothing. But I think a saving throw is probably better. Or, yeah.
All right, so if an arm is hit, -4 to hit and half attack rate, and if a leg is hit, -4 to AC and half move. Is that what you said?
Correct.
Okay.
And I think let's just do the one round of that. If it's 1 round, not enough.
1 round doesn't seem like enough. Maybe for.
Because it could also stack in the same way that the stun can stack, but I think that's going to be pretty unlikely to get more than one effect.
Yeah.
Right, because you're talking orders of magnitude less percent chances.
Yeah. Do we want this to be for like D4 rounds? How long do you want the maim to last?
We can do D4. We can try D4 rounds.
Okay. So bleed is 1 damage per round until the wound is healed or bandaged or something.
Mm-hmm.
Stun is targeted stun for 1 round. Maim, roll for an arm or leg hit, 50-50 chance of either. If an arm is hit, -4 to hit and attack rate, half attack rate. If leg is hit, -4 AC and half move, lasts for 1d4 rounds. On a roll of a 10, you get roll for 2 more effects, and the effects can stack.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's basically it. The only other thing I was thinking is a second castable use of the spell to animate. But we could even make that a separate. Well, I don't know.
The spell must be cast while the weapon's being forged, right?
Correct. Yeah. I think that seems good for now, and we can modify it if it appears imbalanced.
Okay. The spell should be in there now. I just need to add it to your sphere, so it's not going to show up yet. This is 890. Uh, 890 and sphere ID is 7. All right, it should now show up in your spell list if you refresh it.
Voila. Sweet.
Looking for it. Looking for Hellish Halberd. There it is.
Good
Nice.
stuff. And I think the crafting aspect of it makes it not OP, right? I mean, like,
I hope. We'll see.
For the one-player campaign, who cares? And I think if another priest sees this and wants to use it, like the cost and the crafting are somewhat prohibitive.
Yeah. The item cost does make it nice and expensive, which I like.
Yeah. It almost. I mean, it's almost like you don't. I mean, you almost don't need to compare it to other second-level spells because it's not like it's getting used as a second-level spell. It's basically a low-level workaround to make like a minor magic item.
Okay. Cool. So you've already crafted your halberd, right?
Yes. I mean, we had talked about this last week. I mean, I don't know if you want to do any more with this or just say that this was the research of the spell was the forging of the item. And
Yeah, that seems sufficient for me.
Finish it off with my holy hammer of Sayor, and I hum to the metal and tap it and ding, 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 vibrate it at the fundamental frequencies of the universe or something to imbue it with this hellish power.
All right.
And expend my second level spells slot in the in the crafting. Is there anything else you wanna do here? Should we roll, I guess, % chance in case the research fails? I don't even.
Oh, right. Technically, you're supposed to have a chance to research or not. I want to just ignore that.
Okay.
Because that would be super lame if we just spent the first half hour working out the spell and then the research failed. That just seems unfun.
Yeah. I mean, it's also the kind of thing where you can just, if you say, I spend this many weeks, you get a plus percentage to your...
That's true. We could just wait and determine how... It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. You already rolled for HP and everything, right?
I did, yeah. I have a nice, healthy 18.
Fantastic. All right, Zwihard, here you are.
Yeah. I take it there are no berries in this universe?
Berries are wild and plentiful.
Really now?
Of course.
So I can go gathering berries and
No.
get some healing? No.
Of course, if you need to go get some good berries, you can go get some good berries.
I'll be on the lookout. I think for now... so with Flame Blade... You need a proficiency with Scimitar? Is that how it works? Or do you usually assume that the priest wields the Flame Blade as if it's... It says the blade is wielded as if it were a scimitar.
Well, considering that priests can't actually get slashing weapons, I assume you have an automatic proficiency with it.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I think well, this is meant to be a druid spell, but many priests with access to elemental fire
Yeah.
get it.
I think you are proficient with any magical weapons that you summon. You know?
Fair enough. Question: AoE 3-foot-long blade. Does this need to conjure a scimitar, or could I conjure a flaming blade at the end of the halberd, for example, to like boost the damage to D4 plus 4 or D4 plus 6 instead of a D10?
So your weapon normally does
D10.
And you're suggesting you could cast Flame Blade on your halberd to make it be D4 plus 4 damage instead of D10? No, D4 plus 6?
D4 plus 6. Just a thought that I had.
Sure, you could make it do D4 plus 6 instead of D10.
Yeah. It would probably be overpowered to try and stack the two.
I mean, that's 8.5 damage on average instead of 5.5 damage, so that's already like a plus 3 damage.
I think it's a spell slot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'll allow it. You cast Flame Blade at the end of your halberd half. Do you want to do it as on the halberd end, or do you want to like flip the weapon over and have the Flame Blade on like the other end? So you've got like...
I don't think I would be dual wielding, but
It wouldn't be dual wielding, but then you could switch between the two as you wanted, or it might just be a cool effect to have you flip your halberd over and...
Yeah, but then I would lose out on the crits.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so you can just cast it on whatever end you want.
The only advantage, I guess the only thing there is this would give reach to the Flame Blade.
Right.
But it's fine.
For this, I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Okay. All right, but I think for now I'm going to memorize heat metal.
Mm-hmm.
Seems befitting and potentially handy for crafting, forging. All right, I think that is it for the bookkeeping. I'll be on the lookout for berries as I travel around.
Okay.
What do we have to do? I guess we do have some more crafting components. We've got hobgoblin chainmail and battle axes that could potentially be reforged, but I don't immediately have need. How much metal does it cost to make plate?
To make plate?
Yeah.
What is the weight of the plate mail?
So is it strictly a weight thing? I mean, I guess so.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I probably have enough.
Mm-hmm.
I've got 40 pounds of hobgoblin chain. It's probably not smart to melt down my own chain and reforge it.
Probably not.
Anything goes wrong.
Yeah. Also, plate will take a long time to make. I mean, I guess you're a long-lived dwarf, and you could spend months out here.
Maybe that's a quest for another time.
Sure. It's just it's going to take you like 8 weeks or something. I think actually, according to the books, it'll take 32 weeks. It takes 2 weeks per point of AC. No, sorry, it should take 16 weeks. That's what I've written down.
I think we'll save that for another time.
Yeah. You need 60 pounds of metal to do it, which I think you have on hand. I think you lose you lose a few percentage points of metal in the forging process.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably not much, actually. More, I would think more with weapons, because you've got to like grind them down to make a blade.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right, so we'll save that crafting for later.
Sure. So here you are in the Hemderkoss Hills. You have created your magic halberd. You have enchanted it with Hellish Halberd, the spell. And is this a fine enough thing that you've crafted that you can return to your family and present it?
I don't know if we're quite there yet. I mean, it's mithril, but I don't know if it's fine. I mean, if you remember, it was a failed helm that I pounded flat and reforged and ground to a blade. Forged with all of my spite and anger. So it's a twisted, ugly thing.
Right.
Brutal and lethal in combat, but probably not much to show off. Between that and flame blades, I could probably make a pretty imposing. Would make for a pretty imposing return. But I think we're gonna.
Did we roll for the quality of your halberd when you made it?
Halberds. No.
We just said. I don't think you've actually crafted the halberd, have you?
I've got it on my character sheet. We've calculated how much mithril it took.
Right.
We didn't roll for. I must have rolled for. Yeah.
Because I've got all these like qualities that get rolled for in the process of making something. I don't think we went through that process.
Got. It might have been that D20. What's the D20 plus 6 that I crit? Because that would maybe be half.
I think that was no, it's not an attack roll.
Okay, so I guess let's wasn't it the 22?
D20 plus 6 is a non-proficient roll.
Yeah, it might be the D20. The D20 plus 3 would have been half my weaponsmithing. I think it's the 22. I think it's the 20. The 22 would be half of my. No, because my weaponsmithing should be a 9, but I just got the second slot as I leveled up.
So it should be a 4?
Well, no, because that might have been rolled before. Let's just go ahead and try again. Should we just re-roll it?
Oh, but your initial score is a 12, so you divide the score by 2 and then you subtract the 3. That's where the D20 plus 3 comes from.
Okay. So I think it was that 22. So.
Okay. So... Cool. I have this more complicated system to give you more like bonuses on your weapon if you want to use that instead. It has 4 different properties: hardness, flexibility, balance, and sharpness, which change the die size on critical dice, give it saving throws against breaking, lowers the roll needed for a critical hit, and then also does additional damage when it's sharp. So we can roll for hardness and flexibility and balance and sharpness and all that jazz, or we can just say it's a regular halberd.
I think with a quality 22, it wouldn't get any of those anyways, would it?
No, it'd just be regular. Yeah.
Okay. So we can throw that in if I craft an exceptional or an exceptionally exceptional weapon. But...
Right. But for your first time through, it's a regular halberd with hellish halberd cast on it. And it's made out of, this ungodly material.
So Mithril will give it a +1 to hit against all metal armor?
Against all metal armor, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So how does that work with armor not granting AC anymore?
Oh, fuck.
I mean, it could still
maybe it ignores 1 point of damage absorption on metal armors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'll bypass 1 point of damage absorption, we'll just say.
Okay. Is that tiered, or is it just if it's better, it's +1, if it's worse, it's -1? There's no, tiered system where it's bronze, iron, mithril. Mithril gets +2 versus bronze.
No, we'll just say it's, the weapon is superior to the armor and therefore it penetrates it more easily, or the weapon is inferior to the armor and therefore it penetrates it more difficultly. It'll just be a binary. I guess it'll be a tertiary, because it can be equal to. So, either you're better, equal, or worse, and we're not going to worry about degrees. Coolio. So, you've got goat, you've got your halberd, you're in the hills themselves.
Yeah, I think it's time to seek out this Cyclops.
Polyphemus.
Yeah. I don't know exactly where he is. My impression was somewhere to the north, but could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we're gonna go looking anyways.
Sure. Well, you would know that I think we've already spouted this lore before, but we're gonna do it again. That the Hemdarkost Hills are sort of divided. Kind of on the east side, you've got orcs that live over here, and on the west side, you've got hobgoblins. And in between the orcs and the hobgoblins, sort of in the middle of the hills, never straying towards the edge of the hills, liking to stay in the heart of them, you've got Cyclops.
There's many Cyclops.
There are many Cyclops in this area. They tend to work in small family groups. This is something that you would definitely have knowledge of growing up in around here. Oops. Monstrous giants, Cyclops, here we go. Cyclops do not like to travel. They have their homes and rarely range far from them. Families will live near each other but have separate lairs. So a group of 10 Cyclops might be scattered over 200 square miles and each have overlapping territory, and they're all probably related or deeply connected to each other, but they won't share lairs unless they're a breeding couple or raising children. Inter-family territories are strictly maintained and quite often far apart. If one meets a Cyclops, it's like that all other Cyclops in the area are directly related to that one. And they're fairly strong and fairly tall, fairly tough.
Yes, but as a dwarf, I have innate battle tactics versus giants.
Yes.
I know how to duck and weave between their toes.
Yes. You're very good at Cyclops on Cyclops battle. Or dwarf on Cyclops.
My impression was he was somewhere to the north, but I don't actually know for sure.
Yeah, well, it's definitely hard for him to be to the south of you. So, north is probably a good place to start.
C was the coal mine, right? Or it was A, sorry, A. Yeah, coal, right?
Yeah, C was the coal mine.
V was the basilisks. What was his V?
It was a valley where you fought hobgoblins.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the hobgoblins seem to be heading somewhere this way. So I'm guessing the Cyclops is somewhere up in here.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's where I'm going to head and sort of case the area. Keeping an eye out for any other mines that have been abandoned, any other sites of interest, and any berry bushes.
Mm.
So we'll set off. Did we decide anything on movement rates?
Mm-hmm.
You
can go about 6 miles a day through the hills.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think we need to do any rolls, but why don't you can just drag your character and tap space and see where 6 miles is and then release them.
All right.
You're on a trackpad, aren't you?
I am. I don't know if USB. I brought my mouse, but I forgot to bring a USB hub.
Okay. All right, well, let me know if the trackpad gets too difficult to do the weird clicky stuff with. Let me know. And
it's fine. I've been working on a trackpad for years. I'll just take the arthritis and.
Mm-hmm.
All
well,
right,
at least
so
we've upgraded you from the what was it? The big rolly ball that you used to have. The track ball.
I still kind of like the. Those are nice and ergonomic. The like little thumb ball things.
Yeah, I mean, if you can control it, yeah.
I had my mouse broke and I was playing Counter-Strike on that thing for a while.
I know it was surprising how accurate you could be with a trackball.
Well, I mean, I suck regardless, so it didn't make me any worse.
I'm just saying, I've tried to use your trackball to do anything, and it was a nightmare. There was no way I could play.
I got it as like a birthday present. I was like, "What is this?" And then my regular mouse broke one day, and I learned.
And you're like, "Thanks, Grandma. We'll make it happen."
Yeah,
or Uncle. Yeah, it makes sense.
But it's better space efficient, more space efficient. So like at cramped LAN parties, it was kind of convenient.
Yeah, you don't need all that big arm movement.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, so I think I make it basically to that coal mine. So I'm gonna poke in and see if anything's changed. If the slime is still sliming around, it looks like anything's disturbed the area.
Let's take a look. So you poke your head into the mine. And it's dim, it's dark in there. You don't see the ooze anywhere. Everything looks regular.
I still don't think I want to camp out in this mine with an ooze about. I just got an idea for dealing with that ooze.
Oh.
Let's see how much damage this spell does. Nice. Okay. Oh, well, shit. Have you modified heat metal to heat all metals?
Yeah, it's fine. It'll affect all metals.
Okay. Yeah, because it specifically calls out ferrous alloys, but
yeah, it's a bunch of not. Yeah, it's fine.
So you change the mechanism of action. It's no longer a magnetic induction causing the heating. It's something else.
And now it's just regular magic instead of magnetic magic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All the tracks have been consumed, though, correct?
Except for the very last few feet of track. I guess the very first few feet of track?
Out in the sunlight?
Yeah.
How many feet of track are there?
Looks about 5 feet of parallel track, so 10 feet of rail total.
Let's give this a try. I'm gonna try and pull up this this last bit of track, using improvised tools. I probably don't use my holy symbol hammer. I think I left most of the tools at the fort.
Okay.
I'll use my holy symbol if it comes to it, but I've also got battle axe. I'll probably start with the hobgoblin battle axes, maybe the edge of a shield, and see if I can get underneath the tracks and pry them up.
Yeah, definitely. They're old. They're fairly easy to rip apart and peel off the ground. I mean, they've been here for hundreds of years, maybe many hundreds of years. You should be able to rip it apart without any trouble.
All right, so this is probably right around sunset. I guess I'll call my journey short and end the day at this cave, or at this coal mine. Peel up a pile of this bronze track, and I'm gonna set it all together just a few feet inside of the cave. So as the sun's setting, it's covered in darkness. And we'll see if we can lure the ooze out. And then while I wait for the ooze to come, I may look around for some other flammables. I guess for flammables. So like pile some dry brush near it while I'm waiting.
Well, it's the middle of... Did we say what time of year this is?
We're about to say summer, which sounds right to me.
I think it's the middle of summer.
Roll 1d 365 to determine what day of the year it is.
Yeah.
Oh, we did have a day-ish, didn't we? Because you know where this takes place in terms of
right
global timelines.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to fit it back in. Oh crap! When did we say this was? It's actually fairly important.
I think this is post
invasion.
Yeah. Post invasion.
Okay, so I think it's probably somewhere in the spring. Does chat know when we said this was?
Link to the wiki. I think it.
Yeah, McTacky's got all sorts of information in there. Let's see. La la la. No, I don't see anything. No. No idea when this is.
I thought it was fall. All right, who cares? Were you just trying to figure out how late the sun sets?
I was trying to figure out how dry the brush was, and then I was also trying to figure out where in the timeline this takes place. It's fine. There's plenty of dry brush around. It's an arid environment. The brush is dry all year round unless it's raining or recently rained.
Yeah, I don't think we've had any rain, so...
Yeah.
So I throw some dry brush around the metal pile while I wait and see if the ooze comes out. Do I gather this brush?
You gather the brush successfully. The ooze does not arrive.
And darkness falls.
Darkness falls. The stars come out.
I grumble and walk some ways away from the cave entrance.
Okay.
And wait. I'll wait for a couple of hours, I think. And see if I'm able to lure the ooze.
So in the night, you have a fire nearby? What's your deal?
I don't know. Can I make a fire? I don't have fire-making stuff. But I've been making fires.
I mean, you're a blacksmith. You can make a fire as needed, I presume.
Unless it's raining, you usually don't need a fire building proficiency.
Right. So you can set up yourself a little fire.
So I think I set up a campfire some distance from the cave entrance. I still want to be able to see my bait pile.
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to be 60 feet away to see it? Is that how infravision works?
Yeah. You're going to want to be within 60 feet of the bait.
Cool. So I think I've got a campfire 60 feet away from the mine entrance that I'm like hanging out with the goat, taking my dinner, and I probably got my back to the fire, facing the cave, or facing the mine, watching and waiting for this for the ooze to come. And if it doesn't come in a couple of hours, I'll maybe change plans.
So you're sitting at your fire, but mostly keeping an eye on the entrance, waiting for that ooze to show up. And sure enough, it eventually does. It's been maybe an hour and a half since the sun went down. Probably pretty close to when you're thinking about calling it a night. And slithering out, reflected by the glow of the moonlight, is that their damned ooze. Same one, you presume. Looks the same as you saw last time. But it's not heading for the bait pile. It's actually heading towards you instead.
That can work too, I guess. So I'm gonna take the hobgoblin chainmail out of Goat's saddlebag, it's probably sitting on the ground nearby, and toss it like halfway between me and the ooze, so like 30 feet from the cave entrance.
All right, you hurled the saddlebag. Tell me what's in it.
Not the saddlebag. I take the chainmail from the saddlebag.
Right. You hurl the chainmail from the saddlebag towards the ooze. The chainmail lands on the floor.
I'll walk it or whatever if I need to, like walk forward 10, 15 feet so I can give it a toss.
You give it a toss, and the ooze comes towards.
Throw it right in the ooze's path.
You throw it in its path. The ooze goes towards you, starts to roll over the chainmail, and for a moment it looks like it's just going to roll right on past it, like as if the chainmail is just like a part of the terrain it's going over. But then it pauses once it gets about halfway across and starts to.
At this instant, I cast heat metal on the chainmail as the ooze starts to digest it.
Ooh. All right, you cast heat metal on the chainmail. It starts to resonate with it, and you can see the chain start to slowly glow in the light.
Yeah. Material component is just the holy symbol. Let's see. Oh, the chain is not affected. Magical metal. Okay, so on the first round, it really becomes very warm and uncomfortable to touch.
Yeah.
So it probably doesn't notice anything as a miss until the second round, where heat causes blisters and damage.
Yeah, and you see the chainmail start to glow, and this is the point where you'd expect the ooze to start bubbling and popping, or at least recoiling off of the chainmail.
Does it need the fire?
But it seems to have it doesn't seem to mind the heat, and just
at all.
sits on the chainmail, slowly corroding it and absorbing it until the chainmail stops glowing as it's been consumed by the ooze.
Well then. I'm gonna go punch an ooze to death.
Actually, no. The ooze turns around and starts to head back to the cavern.
Well, shit. And that was a waste of 40 pounds of bronze. I thought they might be immune to fire. I can't remember if it was fire or lightning. Cold. Who knows these creatures? Well, it's full.
Yep.
Or something.
Yeah, it's full, and unbeknownst to Zweihaard, the ooze is going to go reproduce inside the mines. laying little polyps that will eventually burst into more tiny oozes. But this is not something Zawaihar's aware of.
Yeah. Well, that's shitty.
Yep.
Guess I gotta go kill more hobgoblins.
Yeah.
I don't know if I feel safe here with that ooze so close. I think I'll let my fire burn down and then go camp some hundreds of feet away.
Okay.
Like,
Easily
break.
done. You head out a little bit further away. Being responsible to put out your campfire, make sure that all the embers are out before you abandon it.
Yeah, on the hills here, you'll...
These are dry hills. It's very easy to start a forest fire out here.
You know, I could have reversed that spell and used chill metal. Wonder if they're immune to freezing damage. All right, so I'll sleep in a little late and rememorize a new second level spell.
All right.
Probably just another heat metal.
It is the next day. You're out in the Hemderkos Hills, and you are looking for hobgoblins or a sign of Polyphemus, the lone Cyclops.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and plot my course.
Mm-hmm.
Probably go something like that. Oh, geez.
Yep, I saw that. Excellent. That next day is fairly uneventful. You and Goat travel the hills, which are getting a little bit windy today. A little bit dusty. Lots of fine particles being blown up into you, kind of covering you with a thin layer of dust and dirt and grime and grit. Sometimes making it difficult to see, but it's just sort of hills, rolling hills as far as the eye can see, with small amounts of vegetation, some of it dried, some of it fresh. Lots of little valleys with creeks, some of them dry, some of them wet, damp, some of them wet, flowing all over the place. You don't see any intelligent life today, no sign of hobgoblins or orcs or Cyclops, but you do spot various little hilly creatures, including a singular mountain lion. But you spot it from, I don't know, a hill over, a full-fledged hill over, so it poses no threat to you, and seems to be going along its business. But there are mountain lions in these hills. You make camp for the next day, and
have I spotted any berries?
Give me a perception check.
Or should I roll like a survival?
No, it'll be perception, because there's a lot of vegetation. It's just a matter of, like, can you find the plant? Can you identify berries from a far enough distance that you... Yes, you can. Yeah, you spot a bush that does have berries, and you succeed in spotting the berries and going like a quarter mile out of your way to get to the bush. It's got these little tiny bright red berries that you're pretty sure are poisonous, or at least would make your stomach really upset if you ate them natively.
Well, we'll just have to purify food and drink and make some good berries in the morning. So I'm gonna need to burn some spells. Metal doesn't damage the metal in any way, does it?
Not at all.
So I can just burn that spell on a battle axe or something.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it'll even improve the battle axe. I'll temper the metal, give it a nice heat treatment, smack it a couple times with my hammer. I'll also burn. I'll bless the bush.
You bless the bush?
I'll bless the bush.
Do you burn the bush?
Bless these berries. Not yet. I still need those good berries. Or do I need to do that? Does good berry have the same?
Yeah, good berry will purify the berry and turn it from whatever it was before into something.
So I don't also need to purify food and drink.
No, that's a nice add-on, but I don't think it's needed.
Okay, then I won't bother blessing the bush.
Okay.
I'll just burn my heat metal that night and then wake up the following morning and cast a good berry.
Huh.
Handful of freshly picked berries. So I pick the berries. And I wave my my holy hammer over the bush. Thank the creator for this wonderful bounty. And I make it till morning, I assume, right?
Yeah, you make it to morning. In the morning, you are awoken by the baying of goats.
Okay. Oh,
not
so
just goat, but goats, plural, like a flock of goats.
Are they gathered around in this little valley here or something? Are they eating the berries?
No, they're coming down the valley towards you. They're being herded by what looks to be some sort of small, diminutive humanoid creature.
What kind? Like a goblin or a...
Something that looks goblin-sized. Yeah, it's at the other end of the valley from where you are right now.
Where am I in my Goodberry ritual at this point?
You're woken to the sounds of baying goats.
Okay, so I haven't had a chance to do my Goodberries yet, so that was premature.
Yeah, but I don't think Goodberry is a long spell, is it?
Well, I need to memorize it.
Okay. So it'll take you 20 minutes to memorize the spell.
And the goats are less than 20 minutes away?
Yeah, you can hear them. They're at the other... They're down the valley a bit, maybe 10 minutes away. They're kind of making their way towards you. The wind's blowing, so it's carrying their voices from the distance. Mm-hmm. You can just hear them. I know they're great 10 out of 10 goat sounds, but...
Yeah, amazing. So what was the verdict? Do I have 20 minutes or... No,
they'll be here in 10. I mean, you could ignore them.
No, I'll wait. I'll put off my prayers and stand guard at this bush and see what's going on. So I guess I break camp, pack up my things, armor up, and see what these goats are.
Yeah.
So you said there was a small diminutive creature.
There is a small diminutive creature, and as you start to put your just one. As you start to put your armor on, the creature stops the herd from getting any closer to you, comes out in front of it with its hooked shepherd's walking stick, blocks the path of the animals, and is very clearly like trying to look across the valley to spot you and see what's going on.
We're squinting at each other. Can I make out its complexion?
Yeah. Give me a perception check, and I'll give you details according.
24. Is it a green skin?
Yeah, it's definitely some sort of goblin. Definitely within the goblin family, and considering its size, it's got to be just a regular old goblin. Although they're not known to live out in these hills.
They're usually not known to keep livestock or farm, right? Usually they just steal from... They're more civilized races.
Yeah, they're scavengers most of the time.
Very confusing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm going to approach. I think there's just this awkward standoff, stare off.
Yeah.
And I'll see what he does.
Once you have your armor fully on, you're gathering your weapons and supplies. And
I don't know if it looks like I'm arming. I mean, there's
you're
but it's like
on chainmail, right?
But it's like I'm also breaking camp and loading bags.
It decides to think better than approach you, and turns and starts herding the flock back up the valley in the other direction.
Was it coming from the north or from the...
It's coming from the north end of the valley.
It's actually the direction I'm heading, but but after sort of this near encounter, I will go about my morning prayers, mend my good berry, and bless the berries.
Oh, berries.
That
Blessed
2d4,
berries.
or just
You can keep your 2d4 roll or re-roll, whatever you want. I'm not particular.
all right, 6 good berries. There are 3 days remaining.
Yes. Blessed good berries, bring to us your bountiful berryness. Blues and reds, greens and yellows.
I think it's been 2 days, so 2 pounds of rations a day.
Mm-hmm.
Although now I've got these good berries.
All right.
So I start walking. So I guess I'm probably 20 minutes behind this goblin heading up the valley.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I'll probably go to like there. And then there.
Sure. So you follow the goblin north. I don't think you're going to make your full day of movement, actually, that day.
Okay. I'm not intentionally following him, but it seems like I may accidentally be heading up the same
right. Oh, that lawnmower will just simply not do.
I'm actually that loud here.
Oh, that's fine.
Considering I was, I started off the stream with garbage trucks outside.
So you start heading up the valley until you come around a corner. As it turns, you go through a small pass between 2 different valleys, pop out into the other side to find a valley with a pretty good creek running through it. You might even call it a stream, even, or a very, very small river with lush grasslands.
This one that I'm sitting in here?
Yeah, it's this one right here. With fairly lush grasslands on either side. The goblin has directed the goats kind of towards this section of the grasslands that has a little bit of a fence built around it. It's a pretty crude fence. It's basically like heaps of dried brush tossed to make it impassable to goats. And it has a large cave built into the side of the hill there. And standing in the cave entryway is a very large Cyclops who, hands on his hips, is looking down at the goblin who's got the whole flock and is staring up at the Cyclops, probably holding a conversation, but you're too far away to hear whatever it is. And
what is the Cyclops armed or armored with?
Nothing right now. Naked as the day he was born, with no weapons in hand, but he is tall and looks fairly cross. He's, I think 18 feet tall. Yeah, he's about 18 feet tall. And looking down at this goblin, hands on his hips, his one eye squinted, either winking or blinking at the goblin occasionally. You can't tell. Never tell the Cyclops.
I don't know how strong Cyclopses are.
They're 18 feet tall, so they're...
Yeah. With those long legs, I don't think there's any chance of disengaging once it started.
It's probably got 4 times your movement speed. And I think we're going to leave it there for the moment. We're going to take our first break. And when we come back, we will see what Zweihaard wants to do. This may not be the Cyclops he's looking for. And we'll find out. See you guys soon. Bye-bye.